Welcome back to Barbarian Builds. My name is Conan, and today I am very excited to finally be able to show you guys this blaster. This is my prototype double Dominator, and before I start talking too much, cue the slideshow. Before I start talking about this thing in too much detail and run my mouth, for anyone who wants to sort of fast forward to just the firing and the chrono data, I completely understand, so I'm going to leave the contents now. And those of you who don't mind me droning on, without further ado, let's get down to it. I mean, I don't like the sound of my own voice, but I say wouldn't expect you guys to. But essentially, hopefully the slideshow kind of gave you some insight. What we have here is a single Dominator. On the left-hand side, mounted, is a second Dominator. And then on the right-hand side, you have access to the dart shield and the out of darts proud pappers. So it's it is balanced on both sides, despite being from the out, like if you initially look at it, it does seem like it's two, but it is kind of three sections, and it does kind of balance out. The first thing I want to mention is it's for a left-handed user. I'm sorry, right-handed people, I'm a lefty, so it is. But if you were going to sort of build something similar to this, you can just inverse it. It's completely your preference. Without further ado, front to back. So starting at the front, of course, we have the Out of Darts Proud Pappers. I'm going to leave a link in the description to the Out of Darts website, because Out of Darts is an incredible website. These are incredible little 3D printed kind of super jolts that will connect to whatever rail you want it to. So I actually added some Picatinny rail onto the right side of the main Dominator, just to allow that Proud Papper to be placed. One, because I thought it looked cool, and two, because it is actually really nicely accessible when you're using your offhand. And of course, it's not just sort of a single elite and rocket posts. You have mega posts you can attach, and you have these shotgun wings you can attach, which fire 3 elites. So that adds a really nice level of versatility. And the reason I chose to do Out of Darts Proud Pappers rather than say like integrate an actual an integrated Magnus is because you have the options to take this off. It's very modular. As you saw back in the slideshow presentation, on the table when you saw all the pieces laid out, this is very much a modular build. It was built to sort of tailor, as much as I really wanted it to look cool, and I wanted it to sort of be part of my personality, be cool, kind of like that sort of sci-fi Viking, sort of a bit wacky. I also wanted it to have modularity and be functional, because if you build something big and bulky and you're not in the mood to run something big and bulky, then you can just, unscrew the attachments and have something a bit smaller and more compact. But more on that later when I go through how I'd actually run it in a war. Moving a little bit further back, I've added some Mega Dart storage. One, because aesthetically I think it looked cool. I did some paint on the dart heads too. Also makes it easier to know which darts are yours if you ever use them. But also because functionally I would be using these Out of Darts Proud Pappers mostly with mega barrels. Just because I think if you're firing elites, the main blaster fires elites anyway, and the rockets, although it's really, really fun, don't actually fly that far. So mega is that kind of firing something different and getting some good function out of it. Then moving further back, you can see I have the sort of synthetic leather, and that's to really give that kind of like sort of almost like Asgardian kind of effect, where it is obviously built around a blaster, but it also kind of has a bit of that sort of old-fashioned leather. It's kind of meant to, as you say, that kind of Asgardian space Viking kind of vibe. And then of course the dart shield. This is, obviously it's functional, but this was really designed to like make this thing look used and sort of kind of a bit cosplay LARP-esque. I wanted to make it seem like it had been shot at, it had been sort of damaged, it's been used. So I sort of tore bits of the leather. I sort of made it look, or tried to make it look like there are darts actually stuck through the shield. And then like the chain borderlines sort of hanging where it's been a bit rough and rugged. I really wanted to try and create that sort of rough, rugged look. And then even further back, we have probably my favourite part of this, the sight. Nearly knocked it down. Honestly, I'm so clumsy. But we have the sight, and this is my favourite part because obviously it's nice just to have a sight. It's an airsoft sort of red dot sight, so nothing fancy. Bought it off Amazon, but I've obviously painted it up. And then on the side, what's mounted is a baby monitor camera, or kind of like a small security camera. It connects via Wi-Fi or Bluetooth to my phone, and when I'm wearing my gear and I have my mask, there's this heads-up display unit on my mask. You see where this is going. Thanks to Captain Xavier for the idea. I'm definitely going to leave a link to his channel in the description. So when I'm wearing the mask, I see what the camera sees. So yes, I can shoot around corners, I can shoot behind my back, I can do all sorts of unnecessary things just for the sake of I think it's cool. Also get some really good footage when you record, so that's really nice. And it also links to my phone, so that's really, really useful. And then we have the extended battery cover, which I've painted gold. That houses the attachment piece, so this shield just screws on. It runs on quite a large 3S LiPo, so, but of course it could be a smaller 3S LiPo. And then we have the chain if I spin it, purely for aesthetic reasons. And then it's not going to fit in frame because it's quite a large blaster. There you go, sight forward. And then I've caught, if I'm going for the Space Viking as Guardian look, axe stock. Is it the most practical thing? No, but yeah, I never said I was very good at Photoshop. But indeed, continuing on, as we can see, it's just a simple chop stock. I tried to leave a lot of orange to help make it identifiable as a toy. As much as I'm really interested in sort of making it look thematically cool, I'm also conscious that it's a toy, and I do want it to still look like a toy, despite living in a safe country. I live in England, if you can't tell by my accent. But then also we've got a real chain, it's painted up gold, and there's even in silver paint, some nice reflective silver paint, there are runes painted in the foam. And because of the nature of how the foams absorb the paint, it only catches at certain angles. But that almost gives it the effect that the runes are like lighting up. And I love that, because that's thematically perfectly on point, like this enchanted Asgardian weapon. But of course, that's quite... it's quite an impractical stock, especially for someone my size, like it's really big. So I made a secondary stock, and as you can see, it's got my drum mag housed in, and this is just a knockoff modular stock of Amazon that is very sturdy, very nice quality, and I've just painted it up, you know, to match the overall theme. It's got the silver, it's got the gold runes in it, and then it adds that functionality of one, being more appropriately sized, and two, holding those extra magazines. And that brings me on to magazines, because not only can this take standard Nerf mags, as we see it's standing on two 12-round magazines at the moment that I've painted gold, but it also takes its Dominator double stack mags, and that means that this thing can have a total capacity of up to 80 shots. And that's a lot of shots. Luckily, this blaster goes through them quite quickly, and that brings us on to the internals. So the primary Dominator is basically just a glorified Strife. It is running off of Valkyries. All of this was bought from Out of Darts. Again, shout out to them. The link to their website is in the description. Not sponsored, just big fans. And so it's just glorified Strife. It's slick, it's all lubricated, there's no locks. And I typically prefer that kind of efficient semi-auto over full auto, because it jams less and you get to pick your shots, you get to be more ammo conservative. However, there are times where you just want to spew as many darts and just have a laugh, and that's what the outer Dominator is for. It is running on Krakens, and it is a powerhouse. As you've seen in the firing demo, it absolutely spews darts. Does it jam? My god, it jams. But it's when it works, which it works most of the time, it's worth it. And how I've connected the two is actually taking a bit of inspiration from the amazing Captain Xavier. For his first main primary blaster, Aya, which is his modified Stampede, he integrated a secondary trigger, almost like a rev trigger on the Stampede. That sole purpose was to accept attachments to plug into the handle, so you could operate other sort of attachment pieces from holding either, so he doesn't need to take a spare hand. He can keep both hands doing what they're doing and still have that functionality of other attachments which he's plugged in. And I've done exactly the same thing. The lead which connects the outer Dominator plugs in through the inner Dominator's handle and connects to the rev trigger. So the rev trigger is what fires the outer Dominator, and the main trigger is what fires the inner Dominator. And of course, because it's just a typical connection point, any attachments I build, say I'm working on a shoulder mounted Vulcan, I can plug that into the handle running through a cable, and then I can fire that shoulder mounted Vulcan off of the red trigger. So it's just sort of that additional switch, which is really, really cool. And also it's very easily disconnectable, so it doesn't get in the way at all. But that is really what I've done. Obviously, LiPo safety is a really, really big one. This does run off a really powerful 3S LiPo. And I want to make that really clear that if you're ever going to sort of try and build a prototype, something that not really many people have done before, it is about sort of a bit of trial and error. Always test with low voltage batteries, never test with a LiPo. And I've made sure to really, really be safe, like in setting. Obviously the cable that runs from the outer Dominator to the inner Dominator is exposed. But each individual wire has been wrapped in electrical tape, and it's been wrapped in red electrical tape, and then it's been wrapped in white together. So if there's any sort of actually ever damage to that sort of outer layer, and I can see red, I know that there is a problem. I know that then I need to just check everything's fine. It's just about having those sort of safety measures in place. But I've ranted enough, so let's go and do something fun again. It's a bit damp, welcome to the south of England, but range and accuracy tests we're going to compare to my hammer shot. I do love my hammer shot. Put it on the floor, and then we're going to let this thing have a go. So that was pretty flat shots, let's see where they ended up. Well, we have found our 2 hammer shot shots. Not too far a range. I mean, the hammer shot is a great blaster. Let's go see if we can go on a scavenge and see where the others all landed. And I think I found them. Couple outliers over here. The majority all nicely grouped in a perfectly straight line. Love waffle tip darts. But yeah, about 3 times the effective range of a standard hammer shot, and that's what Kraken motors will do for you. I'll definitely leave a link to Out of Darts in the description, because Kraken motors and the daybreak setup I have is just seems to be performing really, really well. I mean, over the accuracy to these things, so definitely. And now for the chrono section, I'm going to apologise for any headphone users because this is going to be quite loud. But without further ado, and we're out. So it seems to be hitting consistently around sort of the 135, 140 mark. We have a few lower if they blow off the heads, and we have a few higher if they seem to be whirly birds. So we've got a few shots loaded up. We're about 35 feet away. Let's see if I can use its red dot sight to hit anything. The answer will probably be no. I'll take that. So as we've seen, we're pretty accurate trying to hit a man-sized, or woman, let's not be sexist, we are pretty decent at trying to hit a man-sized target from around sort of 35 feet away. But how accurate are we sort of like in terms of pinpoint precision? Because a lot of the time if people are peeking from cover, you need that pinpoint accuracy. So to compare, we have a standard retaliator. This is where it began for me. This was my first Nerf blaster. We're going to see if we can hit anything. I'll target to Jenga blocks. Other brands are available. But let's see how bad I am at this. Yeah, this is going to be more difficult than I thought. Not gonna lie, I'm doing better than I thought. Buy waffle darts, people. Okay, that was a straight out miss. Here we go for the towel. Oh. And for someone with an A level in further maths that I cannot count, can we just appreciate the smooth mag drop? Like, I'm very amazed I didn't drop that. Oh, so close. Come on. Yeah, that's just the look of disappointment. No! Straight through the middle. Any more? Yeah, no. There you go, I redeemed myself with the one earlier. Let's try it with the Vanguard. Back at it. We have the Vanguard. Sorry for headphone users, this is going to completely KO you. We're going to see if we can beat the retaliated score. Oh, it's just too fun. It's just too fun. Let's try again. So clowning around the side, what I'm really trying to highlight here is that the precision of the shots when you're firing at much higher FPS is just so much more reliable. Even though I'm awful with a red dot sight and it probably needs a little bit of adjusting, it's so much easier to sort of see your target and adjust. Also, elite performance, you just need to drop off of the darts, it's just depressing. But anyway, that's enough of me rambling on. Let's see if I can take out the big one. Again, it's way too much fun. I love how in each video you can see the progression of the swords behind me getting completely beaten up and worn out. Not gonna lie to you, without the crossguards I kind of feel a bit like a B-Tech Obi-Wan. Welcome back, and time to actually go over how I would really want to run this. First things first, hold it with my left hand because left-handed people are superior. I'm joking. I'm not. I'm kidding, I'm joking. But that's really the premise of how I designed this, is that you'll notice that the proud Papa placements are, for me, on the inside. They're very accessible if I kept the one underneath. Personally, when I run it, having two, in my opinion, is a little bit too much bulk. I personally just like this one on the side, it balances out a little bit, and it's really easily accessible to just pull back. And I can actually now highlight how easy this is. In my last take, I forgot to bring a Mega Dart with me, and that was quite awkward, but it's really simple, and it's nice just to have that there. The benefit is of changing out the stock, and that's probably the biggest thing, is notice that rather than use the axe stock, I use this knockoff modular stock. And the advantages is it really compacts everything down. If I actually take the stock off and take this absurdly huge 35 round drum mag out, you'll realise that this is actually a very, very compact, despite the fact it's two Dominators with quite a lot of attachments on it, got two Proud Papas, you've got a dart shield. Actually, when you start taking some of those off, if you don't want them, it actually becomes a really small, very easily manoeuvrable package. Even if I was to put the 35 round drum back in, because of the way it's designed, I'm a left-hander, it's actually completely out of my way. Yes, there's a little bit of bulk on the side, but it's not hard. You can still very easily get through doors, and this stock is nice and short, which is perfect because so am I. So this is very easily manoeuvrable. And in terms of weight, it might look quite heavy because there's a lot of metal bolts. You've got the brown pappers, you've got the sight, and obviously you've got the drum mag in it. And now it's got the 2 mags. It'll have quite a large 3S LiPo in it when it's being used. It's not actually really heavy at all. And I'm not saying that from, like, I know I'm an adult. Well, I don't act like it, but I know I'm 20. But it's generally not, in fact, the only thing adding any significant weight is the sight itself. Because of course it's a metal airsoft scope with a metal camera on it. But I would run it with a camera because when I'm wearing my gear, when I'm wearing my mask, I can literally shoot around corners, I can shoot behind me, and yeah, just to highlight, it's not heavy. I can quite easily do some Jedi-like, I mean, so uncivilized, but I can do some like Jedi-like tricks. It's really actually very maneuverable for what it is. For the firepower this offers, I'm really pleased I did it with the Dominator. Obviously, 2 full auto strikes bolted together would take up a lot less space, and that would be even more compact, but then again, you wouldn't then have that space to mount the proud pappers. So, a very nice balance, and overall, I am very, very pleased running this in the war. Everything's just so accessible. The only criticism I do have of this blaster is it's obviously not symmetrical. If you are a right-handed person, you would really struggle to use this. You'd have to switch. You'd have to probably drop this drum mag. The proud papper would probably have to be top-mounted because trying to reach over to this side is. It was definitely designed for me to use as a left-handed person. And if anyone ever was actually thinking, "Oh, this is quite cool, I'll build my own," if you're right-handed, reverse everything. Literally. Flip the image in your camera settings, and you'll be able to see actually that's what it needs to be for a right-handed person. But I'm a lefty because I had to be awkward at birth. So my parents never made me be a righty. They let me be a lefty, and I hate them for it because if you're a left-handed person, you'll understand how bloody impossible scissors are. There you go, walked off camera to get a Mega Dart. Again, I didn't bring enough with me. I'm just making a point that you could very easily have this proud papper on me underneath, but I personally like it on the side because I find it's a little bit easier to sort of grab it on the side. Balances out, and I really like having my hand under here, so this time on camera, perfect. Well, this has been the video on my sort of Mark 1 double Dominator. Thank you all so much for watching. I like the support you guys give. Actually, I know it's cliche for YouTubers to say that, but it does really mean a lot. I mean, I'm a student who does this as a hobby, so the fact that people actually like and watch these videos really means a lot to me. So if you do like it, please do like and subscribe, I really appreciate it. And in the comments below, let me know any things I can improve on for the next model. I'm really happy with how this turned out. It's definitely not perfect. There's definitely a few things I'd do differently next time. But overall, it's been great fun. It's been great fun making the video. It's been great fun building this. And I think the only thing left for me to say is take care, thank you for watching, and until the next video.